Greetings, family. This is Dia Nunez with the HO Network, sitting with my elder, Oba Ernesto Pichardo, who is the co-founder of CLBA, Church of the Lucumi Babaluaye. And as promised, this is our second video of question and answer, sitting down with Oba. Bendición, Oba.
Blessings. Once again, round two.
Round two. Question number two. And hopefully we won't go over time, but y'all know how me and Oba do. We just get to talking, and Lord have mercy.
I'll try to make this real short.
Yeah, okay. Our second question is from Susie. Does Lucumi deal in astrology?
Astrology. Do we deal in it? I know that many of our people do use astrology. But to be more precise in the answer of the question, I can't ever give a simple answer. That's just not me, we have, first, look at the structure. We have, in our divination system, or our literary corpus called Ifa, is structured in the following way. We have 16 chapters, which I call the primals, right? And each of those chapters have another 15 types. So, in other words, 15 sub-chapters to the chapter. So if we add that up, we do the math, we end up with 256 possibilities. And those possibilities are generated through the different methodologies of divination instruments. So, for example, in my case, Olorishas, priests of our faith and priestesses, we use 16 cowrie shells, which are binary. And the Babalaos, the Ifa priests, those men that have been ordained to the priesthood order of Orumila, use several instruments. The common, most widely used is the Opale divination chain, which has 8 chips. It's 2 sides of the chain, 4 on each side. And each chip is also has a binary value. So the chain, when it's cast, it can also produce up to 256 combinations. They also have 16 colonnuts, the Ikin, I-K-I-N, and those colonnuts, if you follow that methodology, it is also binary, and it is also capable of mathematically producing 256 combinations. So when we take our 256 and we look at astrology, there are sufficient structural similarities to establish a conversion. So what I mean by conversion, meaning that we can actually put everything that's in astrology and put it within our 256 odus and actually convert. We're merging one methodology with the next. There is a table there. There's a way, a formula there of converting one onto the next, so that either one of them can be speaking about the same thing, pretty much. So there's your short answer.
Indeed.
It can be done, and it is. They are compatible. Yes.
Absolutely. That's why I always talk about Yemoja, Yemaya, in the moon. She's like the moon goddess. I love the moon. I'm a moon child, water child.
Well, we also have, we have all of that, of course. We have, in our divination tray, the way it's divided and what have you. It's got the quarters and it's got all the movements. So, if we take a clock, our whole 256 odus fit in that circle of the clock. So, there are many technical components to this this is not a class on how to convert it, but certainly it certainly can be done. Yes. And we do have the moon we do have the symbol of the moon and the sun and all that other good stuff, and the winds and all of that is there. So yes, the conversion can be done.
Do I dare say this? Yes, I do.
What are you going to do now?
Well, because you're part of the old guard, if you will. And I know that the old guard read everything by the seasons, the moon cycle, the time of the day. And when I say like high noon to 3 o'clock to 6, to 6 to 9 to 12, that's how they did it both. That's how they calculated. They asked the wombs, the odus, do we do it during the nighttime or the daytime? I know now in this so-called modern world, a lot of people are not very precise in nature, and that's not a judgment. It's just, everyone reads different. However, I know that the old guard was very precise. When they did ochas, they did the same thing. They went to every single person's house who was going to be a part of that ocha and actually presented to their crown orisha, and they read what day, what time, how do we do this? And people are not as precise. So I love it when people ask. I love our listeners.
Well, see, there you go, Jan.
I know, I couldn't help myself, but it's true.
That is not my fault. I just answered your question in a few minutes, and now you're extending it. See, now it's not my fault. Okay. You did it again.
I know. I couldn't help myself.
I know. Yes. People like myself, I call that advanced divination, versus practicality. Practicality is what is commonly done and experienced every day of the week by people that go to divination. And, we're talking about astrology. So one thing is doing a little quick practical view of one's day, right? And then we get into those basic or general default conversations. And another thing is taking all the data we need from an individual and sitting down, birth date and all that stuff, and doing a complete chart for that individual, right? So the chart is something that's not an everyday practical thing to do. It's a more specialized and more detailed analysis. We kind of have the same thing. You see? People usually come in for consultations is because they have one or two issues at hand which are pressing them and somehow, and then the diviner focuses on that, and they get into quick fixes via rituals or changing of behavior, conduct, and that's that, and they move on. However, I've experienced it many times in my lifetime where, although we're beginning from a practical standpoint, based on the chapter or subchapter that appears and the types of misfortune combinations or even weak fortunes, or even fortunes, strong fortunes, depending on what's coming out, it might, the indicator there could be that you need to go beyond practicality and go into these very detailed, very analytical approaches. So, that's something that unless you are well versed in that kind of advanced thinking and module, how it needs to be applied, you're out of tools. You can't take it there. So then the reading falls short, or the dot falls short.
Indeed. Well, the reason why I'm smiling and I can't stop grinning is because I love that, you know, I'm a metaphysical nerd, and
Junkie.
I'm a junkie. And it's the way, it's not just sitting with you and reading and studying the things that my elders that I know, that I've...
Oh, you've tested my metaphysical knowledge, that's for sure.
Yeah, I because that's the way that I view the world and the way that I see the world, and that's sometimes why I have a hard time being grounded. However, I love it when you and the old guard talk about this, because it shows that Lucumi is not a mundane, surface, just material realm of reality tradition. It is very complex in nature, and that's what I love. It shows that the elders understood that we are connected with the universe, and the universe is connected with us. And to me, that is very much important. And it goes back to the Yapata keys that you have told me, in connection with other human beings, and also the universe. When we are soul and we make the contract with Olofing, and we sit down and we create the strategic plan to be birthed into the organic realm of being, and all of these things, to me, that's just very important, because I don't really hear other people speaking of that. So yes, family.
Our starting point is always from the spiritual. In other words, from the heavens to the earth, to the mundane. It's not the mundane to the heavens.
Indeed.
That's how we start. That's our analysis. That's how everything begins to make sense to us. From the spiritual to the material. It's not the other way around. It's not from the material going up. No.
Indeed.
The material going up for us means the return from where we came from.
Oh, so don't even go there, Oba, because now I'm like,
no, that's it. And we're not going to go to there.
We're not going to go there, family. We answered the second question. I hope that y'all know how me and Oba do. This is just what it is. And we love talking about all of these things. But we will be back for our third video. Thank you so much, Oba, for hanging out with me and answering these questions. You know how I am. My brain is like, doo-doo-doo-doo, but I can't help it. It's just the way that I think. But thank you, Oba Ernesto Pichardo, co-founder of CLBA, Church of the Lucumi Babaluaye. Family, this is Dia Nunez of the HO Network. Thank you for hanging out with us. And until next time, until we have other questions, bye-bye.